What's going on, everybody? YouTube out here on a Monday. It's about noon. And I needed to do a video today to apologize. Anybody who watches this channel on a regular basis of any kind knows that the video I put up yesterday was totally out of character. I don't get into, bring up, even really watch all the trucker YouTube drama. The people who get into that, that's fine. That's their thing. I don't knock them or hate them if that's what they want to do. I just don't get involved. I don't care. It's not my thing. I don't enjoy watching it. So I don't go there. But I did yesterday. And for that, Jason, I'm sure you'll see the video. You saw the one yesterday, so I'm sure you'll see the video. I hope you do. I apologize because I got mired down in that muck and I said things that I shouldn't have. I used thoughts that I was having about inaccuracies, I believe, or differences of opinion. That's what it is. It's a difference of opinion. And I carried it way off the rails. And for that, Jason, I apologize. That's the easiest way I can put it. Now, that does not mean that I agree with things that have been said, because nobody always agrees all the time. And Jason, I've been watching Jason, but since before any other. Jason Pope, Trucker's Coach, was the first YouTube trucker that I ever found and watched. I was driving locally at the time, not locally. I was driving for a locally owned company, a private fleet, and was looking to get back into doing the owner-operator thing, and Jason was at Schneider doing the Schneider IC, putting out videos about it, and that was how I found out about the Schneider IC system, SFI, the whole 9 yards, because that's where Jason was at the time. And he's the reason I went to Schneider and got an SFI truck. The experiences I was seeing him have is what led me there. And so I've been watching Jason a long time, and I actually met and talked to Jason in person. I don't know if he remembers this. He sees and talks to a lot of people. But almost 2 years ago at GATS, when Jason was at Traveloco, I had already gone to Schneider. He was at Traveloco, had left and went to Traveloco. And I saw him and Daphne in Dallas at the Uber dinner thing there. And I sat at a table with him and Daphne for a good 45 minutes or so and talked about Traveloco and how everything worked, and had a really good conversation. And I appreciated all the info that they gave me because he had firsthand knowledge, And that being said, I don't always agree with everything Jason says or does. I don't think anybody's ever going to agree with everything that anybody says or does. There's plenty of people out here that look at what I'm doing and call me a fool, but guess what? I'm successful on my level. And that's the other key point to what I want to say, is that success is based on each individual's need. What makes me successful in my mind could be very, very different than what somebody else feels that they're successful. They may look at me and think I'm crazy in what I'm doing, but I'm happy with it if it's doing the goals and meeting the needs that I need, and vice versa. And that's why I'm not going to knock Coach for quitting his authority and doing a local deal if that's what he wants to do. Listen, nobody, I don't think anybody would knock anybody for going and doing something that where you can be home, because let's all face it, we're all out here on the road and we give up a lot of time at home. We give a lot of time with our families. And if you can be in a more local home all the time, or home, deal, and make the money you need to make, then that's great, especially if that's something you want to do. Where I got a little twisted and off track yesterday was, if that's the reason, listen, yeah, the spot market is down. The spot market's been down since October, September. We took a dive after July 4th last year. Everybody was kind of predicting that. This is not my first time in a broker type scenario. Everybody knows I was at Landstar before. I understand freight cycles. I understand and was telling my friends last year that this is not normal. This is unbelievably great, and I'm going to run it as hard as I can while it's up, but that's not normal. And what we had last year is not coming back. There was a perfect storm of hurricanes at the end of 17 and ELD mandates and everything else. It was a perfect storm that drove the market through the roof. That's not coming back. Jason's right, you know. Jeff is right. Everybody that has been in this at least for any amount of time understands that last year was not the normal, and we probably won't ever see that again. But we don't have to. Majority of the people out here don't need last year's market to be successful, to survive. If you need last year's market to survive, you're in trouble, because last year's market's not coming back. But that being said, if you want to get out of the spot market, if you want to not have your own authority because you want to be home more, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I don't think anybody that watches Jason's channel all the time, part of the time, sometime, would knock anybody, including Jason, for saying, you know what, I want to be home more. I've got an opportunity that's going to present me with that. It's going to meet the needs I need financially. I'm going to try that out. There's no negative from that, okay? If that's how we portray it. The whole insurance on the authority thing is another aspect. You know, I fully understand. I'm at a small carrier now. Anything can happen any day. And that whole deal that happened last year with Jason and Dave, that was a very unfortunate scenario, but nobody's really to blame there. Things happen. I can have a tire blowout today myself, and the same exact scenario happen again. And it would be a bad thing for any small carrier, including this one. When you get a big ding on your insurance and your CSA score, it's bad, because you don't have the pool of trucks and inspections and everything else. That percentage goes through the roof, and it almost is a killer. That can happen to anybody. And if that's the reason for holding off right now and getting out of the spot market, benching the authority, there's nobody that's going to say anything negative about that either. Because everybody with a half a brain can understand that that was an unfortunate situation that couldn't be avoided, and it is what it is. Nobody's going to knock anybody for that. Those are two perfectly good things, and in combination, there's nothing wrong with that. I commend the man. What I get twisted up and where I get and I depart from agreeing with Jason is to blame it on unfavorable markets, low rates, hard times in the spot market, and to then go as far as saying that people in an 80-20 split can't make it. And if you want to stay, you can, but you should try to go look at a mega carrier or something like that. And where I have a problem with that is that's a blanket statement when everybody's needs are different. You can't make a blanket statement like that, because not everybody is the same. That was where I brought up the whole, I have a new truck, I have a new trailer, debt at home. Because debt does not mean success. Debt does not mean success at all. What debt does is it proves the need for revenue. And if you have a high need for revenue and are able to make it, then people with a low need for revenue surely should be able to make it. It's all in what you want to do to make it. It's all in how much are you willing to do to make what you need. If you got the opportunity to be home more and the insurance is crazy high because of an unfortunate situation, it might very well make sense to try that opportunity and be home and not pay that high insurance and all that. That probably makes perfect sense. I can believe 100% that it makes perfect sense, at least in Jason's head. I'll agree 100% with that. But to blanket state that people in the spot market in an 80-20 split can't make it, should go to a mega carrier, I disagree with that 100%. I do have a lot of debt, and that does not measure success. That simply states a high need of revenue. And if I'm able to do that at an 80-20 split and make the payments and make the money and have extra money to do things and do fun things with my family, that to me is my measure of success. I don't want to go back to a mega carrier with a dispatching and paid by the mile, have to run my truck into the ground at $1.20, $1.25 a mile in order to try to make a living, to give up the freedom of being able to go where I want to go, go home when I want to. Those are the things that I and a lot of other people have worked hard to get to, and to simply, when times get tough, throw your hands up and jump back to the mega carrier. That to me is too quick of a give up. Now, I'm not saying that that's what Jason's doing, because he's not even going back to a mega carrier. He's not running his truck right now. He's in a totally different situation. The problem I have is that Jason does have a large audience, and Jason does, I mean, his nickname is the coach. That's his gig. That's his thing. I don't do that. I don't get on here coaching people. That's not my thing. What I do and what I need for success is not what other people need. There's some people that are very much like me in the same boat, but not everybody. And I'm not the guy who's going to tell somebody that what I'm doing is what they should do. What I'm going to tell the guy is, if your situation is like mine, here's how I'm able to make it work. Maybe that'll work for you. But to sit there and say that the spot market is bad, the rates are low, they're going to go lower. Now let me make another statement. I believe that the spot market is going to go down a little further. Jason has said that. Jeff has said that. A lot of industry people have said that. I believe it is going to go a little lower. And I don't think we're going to have a rebound at all in 2019. What we've got now is about where we're going to be the rest of the year, into next year. And you got to prepare yourself and look at the scenario and say, if this continues for another 10 months, can I make it like that? That's where you got to be. To make a blanket statement that people can't, I have a problem with. Because if the market continues how it is right now, or a little lower for the next 10 months, even with my high debt and my high need of revenue, I can make that work and still have extra money, and still change the oil in my truck, pay my taxes, have nice things at home. So it can be done. And to just make a blanket statement that people should think about getting out and going to a mega carrier, I don't subscribe to that. That was where my whole issue came from yesterday. I carried it way too far. I went off the rails down a bad rabbit hole, and I apologize for that part. I think that people can still make a very good living in the spot market. I know I am, at least on my standards. I don't think that everybody should be trying to jump to a mega carrier. And there's certain people that need to. I'll agree with that. There's certain people that need to be out of the spot market and back to a mega carrier, back to a Schneider maybe, which Schneider right now has got a freeze on. A lot of mega carriers have a freeze on, because why? Their freight pool is down too. Volume is down across the board, not just in the spot market. Volume's down on contract freight. And while right now contract rates are higher than the spot market, those contracts are going to be renegotiated. And while it's not all based on the spot market does play a role in contract rates. There's other factors that go into that, capacity, able to commit to a certain amount of loads and things like that. That all goes into contract rates. But being that the spot market is so much lower now than it was a year ago, a year ago, those contract rates are going to get put in check. Nobody who signed a contract last May is going to sign back up for the same rate this May, because the spot market is so much lower than it was a year ago. That's going to play a factor in those new contract rates. How much of a factor? I don't know. But the contract rates will come down some. Will they come down to spot market levels? Some will, some won't. Mega carriers will feel a drop in contract rates as well. And when you're at a mega carrier like a Werner, a Swift, a Crete, a Schneider, well, not Schneider because they don't dispatch you, but any of those mega companies that dispatch you've lost all your control. Yeah, you may be able to turn down a load, but we all know, we've played that game. You turn down a load, your dispatcher may send you another one. You turn that one down, and now you're going to start pissing him off. Because he's not here to be babysitting on what exact load you are. He's just got to get him off his desk. And eventually you're going to not have a load. We've all been down that road. No, I don't want that one. No, that one's horrible. Why would you send me that one? And then eventually they just say, well, I don't have anything else. I'll call you tomorrow. And that's to teach you that you can't do that. I don't ever want to go back to a mega carrier with a dispatcher. That is not something that I would ever want to go back to. And I don't think anybody in the spot market would peg that as something that they would want to go back to. Now, there are some people that do need to go back to that. There's some people out here in the spot market that cannot dispatch. And that's not a knock on them. It's not for everybody. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to be able to figure out your 74 5 days from now. Figure out all the appointment times. Can you make this load work with the other 3 you've already got or the other 3 you're looking at? It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. And it's not for everybody. And there are people that need to be thinking about leaving the spot market and go back to a mega carrier with the dispatch. Or going to a Landstar where you still did. If you got the dispatching part of it, you can handle that. Maybe there's some people that are hanging on a tightrope right now and need to be at a place like a Landstar or a Mercer that they can still do their dispatching and run their way they want to run, go when they want to go home, but have a little more contract freight while the contract freight right now at least is still better. That's a very viable option. There's a lot of people, myself included, that if the market hangs on even slightly lower than it is now, I'm not going to have a problem. Not even close to having a problem. And so there's a lot of people in that boat with me. I know a handful personally that are in that boat with me, on top of all the people I don't know. And so to make a blanket statement that people that are in the spot market on an 80-20 split or whatever need to give up and go to a mega carrier, things like that, I won't subscribe to that. Now, Jason did say you could stay if you want to, whatever, but he made the insinuation that people that are in the spot market on an 80-20, anything less than your own authority, won't be able to survive and need to think about going back to a mega carrier. That was said. I don't agree with that, but on the other side, my disagreement with that should not have led to what it did yesterday. That's where my apology comes in, because I went way down the wrong road, and Jason is right. He's not a failure at all. He does have paid for equipment. He's got low debt at home. That is success even in my book. Where I have a problem is if you want to do the local thing and stay home, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't make everybody else feel like they have to get out of the spot market because you're choosing to. That was really what got me. Because of one person's situation and what they feel like is best for them, that does not mean that everybody else should follow suit. Because what's best for them is not going to work for everybody else. What's best for me is not going to work for everybody else. There's a lot of people that would not want to have to work as hard as I have to work, but I choose to work like I do to have the things that I want. There's a lot of people that don't want to work like that and are happy with less. Sometimes I wish I was that way. But for the most part, I'm perfectly fine out here running the road. I enjoy this job more than any job I've ever had. Trucking was my first major job at 21 years old, and I've never got up a day that I don't want to get behind that wheel and drive this truck. And that is my success. That's where I'm at. That's not for everybody. I admit that. I'm not crazy to think that everybody should be doing this. But we all have to understand, including Jason, that what's best for each individual is not best for the lump sum of people. And when you have a huge, I don't have a YouTube presence. I got 200 something subscribers. I don't have a YouTube presence that I present information and try to help people down the road to success. Jason does. Jason has a huge presence on YouTube, has a lot of influence on a lot of people. And with that comes responsibility. With that influence comes responsibility. And I disagree with what he said the other night. So that was really what spurred me on yesterday, because like I said in the beginning, the video I put up yesterday, which I did take down, is totally out of character for me. Anybody that watches this channel knows that. And that was why I took it down, on top of the fact that what I said was wrong. And I'm sure it was hurtful, and for that I feel bad about it. So Jason, I hope you see the video. I hope you understand at least where I'm coming from. I'm sure Hensley will see the video, and that's the other thing too. You know, I don't watch Hensley's videos all that much. I'm not subscribed. We're in different groups, and I don't get in, like I said, I don't get into the whole drama and all of that. But there's nothing wrong with that if that's your thing. It's just not mine. And I saw Hensley's video yesterday, and he was fired up about what I'd said, and I apologize to Hensley too, because he and Coach are friends, and I know that I take it personal when any of my friends are attacked, and I'm sure he took it personal when I said what I did. So I apologize to Hensley too, because I offended your friend, or I attacked your friend. And I want, like everybody else, I don't think anybody wants to see people be unsuccessful. I would hope that anyway, because that's definitely the last thing that I want. I want everybody, I would hope that everybody is as successful as they can be, and that they meet all their goals and needs, because that's what we're all out here trying to do. We're all in this game together. This whole trucking journey that everybody's on, we're all trying to get and achieve a certain level of success, whatever that level is for our own personal needs. But that's what we're all trying to do. And I hope that every single person, I don't want anybody to fail at that. I don't want anybody to come up short on their goals and needs, and be healthy in doing it. You know, Hensley, I saw in your video that you had some medicine there, and I don't know your story, but I hope whatever it is, you're getting over it and back to trucking. I did watch the roundtable last night, and there was a lot of good information put out last night on that roundtable. If you didn't see it, it's on Little Dog's channel. There was a big group of people that were in that roundtable discussion last night. It was a lot of good information. Some of it I don't agree with, but not everybody, again, is going to agree with everything. So there was a lot of good information put out there last night. I watched majority of it. It was getting late, and I got ready to go to bed, but there was a lot of good information, and you know, Hensley was there, and Coach, and Little Dog, and Exec, and Yeti, and Spectre, and a whole group of people. And that's where we need to be going and doing. That's, I think, what would make the best impact on helping everybody be successful, is the sharing of ideas, and not, this is what I'm doing, so you should too. Because just because of what I do is good for me does not mean it fits anybody else, including Coach, Hensley, James, Yeti. What we all do is different for everybody. And so to best help everybody, it's just a sharing of knowledge. Like that roundtable last night. I think that was Little Dog's idea, and it was an awesome idea. And it was a good result. That information that was shared around last night was good info. The sharing of ideas and opinions, you bounce ideas and opinions off of each other. Now, I agree with that. I don't agree with that. Here's why. This is better, I think, and here's why. And you bounce those things back, and people that are watching and interjecting can get a multitude of opinion on different sides of all the topics to form their best opinion. That's what I got out of that, and that was awesome. That was awesome. So if that was spurred on by my stupidity yesterday, then I'm glad that was spurred on by my stupidity. What it took to do it, I apologize for, because that I shouldn't have done that, and that's not what I do. So anyway, I hope that what I have said today makes sense. It does in my head. That doesn't mean it's going to make sense to anybody else. I just wanted to clear the air about what I said yesterday and make sure that it was understood that I apologize for that. So on that note, I'm going to get ready to hit back on the road. I got to run over to Indiana, and I hope everybody has a safe day. Be careful. It's a lot of rain and such in the Midwest and whatnot. So if you're out here and it's bad weather, be careful, and we'll see you again. Keep shiny side up, rubber side down. Peace out.